Back to propolis. I pre-measured to make my propolis and 5 different areas on websites that just give you different methods. So
Before you start, how do you harvest your propolis? You just scrape it off the frame?
I diligently scrape it off the frames as we harvest the honey and pull the frames out. I will, as I'm picking the honey out, I will go through with an extra hive tool and pull cup and I put it in there. And then I store it in a mason jar until I get enough. You know, right now I think I've got 2.5 jars right now. But this is a finished product. But I just take my propolis and I'll have to improvise because I have a measuring cup, but I did not forgot to weigh. But I've already weighed out. This is just what I have done. 2 ounces. Let's do ounces. So, and I do my tare. So I've got my tare on my unit that I'm going to actually put the liquid in. I use Everclear, 189 proof, and I'm just going to go by weight. I will do, it's 2 parts to 9 of liquid weight. It's 2 ounces to 9 ounces. And again, you're going to see variations. It could be 1 to 3. It could be, and it depends on the person. You just put it in a jar, then you cover it. That's pretty much all there is to it. Then usually, and I didn't bring that, instead of the metal, I like to put plastic over the top before I put my metal on. Just because I'm going to be shaking it and I don't want it up on the metal. When I do that, I'll do this one, then I'll put plastic on it at home. Shake it, and you can already see that it's starting to turn and get that color. And as it sits, I let this sit for about 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks.
Shake it every day.
Shake it every day, at least once. Shake it every day, vigorously for just a moment. And I also, you don't have to do this at first, but I did it because that's what I had read about it. I put it in a dark spot, like a cabinet, out away from any other excess heat. But they say you can do it room temperature. You don't have to even put it in the dark, but I did. And then after those weeks go, then I take I'll take an empty jar like this, and I'm not going to do it to pour this off because now use this. So to pour it off, and I strain mine through a coffee filter, like a cone coffee filter. And then after I do that, get it in my jar. Then you can switch to a brown bottle for storage. It keeps the light out from deterioration.
If you get beeswax in there, does it dissolve too?
It's going to come to the top. Whatever you have,
So it gets straightened out.
It's going to be straightened out, so it's not going to.
You don't have to worry a lot about trying to get beeswax.
I do not. If I can pick it out as I see that I have a chunk, I do, or not, you know. But mostly I try and keep it as clean as I can. And then just let it sit in the dark, shake it. Like I said, after 3 to 4 weeks, I'll strain that off, put it in a brown bottle, and then I store this in the dark until I'm ready to hand out to our friends, whoever asks for it. I buy the little brown bottles and that has the eyedropper in it. And it's good sore throats. We've had friends and we always used it for burning. Ended up not blistering after picking an iron skillet up with his bare hand.
Shouldn't do that.
So that-
Only the Everclear.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But he said it did blister. You know, I have a friend who actually went on medication for kidney problems. Just as an example of uses, she went on this medication. A side effect was to break out in hives all over, which she did. So they took her back off the medication. There were areas she says I could not reach to put this on. She said, but the areas that I could reach, I could see a significant difference in how fast it was healing versus not. Do you have that too?
So there's another way of dispensing it, little spray bottles.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was gonna say that, I just didn't have it.
Everclear, oh boy.
That's Propolis or if it's the Everclear. But kind of in a nutshell, that's what it is. We've had sore throats. We had a friend who had dental surgery, crowns and everything done, and root canals. He said he was really having a hard time getting that to heal. He put drops of this in his mouth and around. He said within 2 days, all the swelling had come down and the redness, was gone. So we have people, that are interested in it for the medicinal, of course, the medicinal purposes of it. Like I said, rashes, cuts.
Now, are you using any kind of a propolis collector, or how are you gathering the propolis?
I scrape it right off the frame as for uncapping honey when I get a chance. If not, right now I've got a couple of totes of the frames that we have pulled that it's a winter project. And I'll do that and save it.
I'm curious how many hives you have then to collect
23.
enough for,
22, 23.
okay.
Yeah, and like I said, you collect it and you can keep it, you can freeze it. And then when you get enough, you can get it back out and use it. I just store mine. What's your question?
You might have already mentioned, but, you taking oilies or just copies?
Yes, absolutely. He brought over his spray bottle because I don't have any spray bottles.
Oh, that was the
yeah.
part I wasn't listening to, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can spray it orally, and I was trying to find, and I just found it last night. There are really not guidelines that I've heard of how much to use, like for sore throat or indigestion, anything. So last night I finally found someone online on YouTube that said a good 5 drops, like for sore throats, things like that. Like 5 drops out of the dropper should be sufficient, and you can do it like up to 5 times a day, 4 or 5 times a day, if need be, and then it should be good.
Put it on the tongue.
Yeah, you put it on your tongue. Or you can actually mix it in if you can't tolerate it because you've never tasted it. It's pretty nasty. Yeah, cologne.
You do it for alcohol?
But so you can mix it in tea, you can mix it in any other liquid that will help us to get it down, just, do that. And I was saying that I do have somebody that I'm meeting with tomorrow. She's currently has Lyme disease, and she's currently doing the bee sting there for it. Down both sides of her spine. She's starting to get the numbness and the tingling from her Lyme disease now. It's affecting her. So she reached out to me and asked through Karen, reached out, and I'm going to meet with her tomorrow. Do it. She's going to get some. The lady that she's working with on her these things, I guess, is had recommended that she could find somebody local to get this.
So
That's a good thing.
instead of the bee stings or in addition?
They're going to use them in tandem because as a matter of fact, the lady had her get it just in case, she would ever have a reaction, But yeah, it's going to be in tandem with the stings.
How do you sell that?
Do I sell it?
Yeah.
I do. I have some. I don't sell it typically. If anybody wants it, I'm good with it. But I've had a couple people.
Like, what would a vial do for?
Oh,
I see it as high as $20 for an ounce.
Yeah, but this is, and I weighed my bottle, and since everything is in liquid, this is only about ½ ounce of weight per weight. So I would say probably like 10. I think I had a guy that did buy a couple from me for like $10 each.
If you do sell them, you want to put the label that says this, this is not approved by the FDA.
And I'm not getting into all of that.
Yeah.
So I just friends, family.
We shouldn't overlook the therapeutic effect of honey itself on wounds,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
particularly scarified abrasions.
Yeah, I've had-
that are
yeah.
open.
that's right.
Holds down swelling,
Mhm.
actually is bacterial, destructive. So it's perfect, and particularly if it's crystallized, it stays long.
Yeah, I've had a friend give me feedback about the honey too. We've given her some honey, and
You
she.
can find Manuka honey, which is supposed to be off the shelf.
Well, that's, I guess, the thing with the propolis is because there are so many, because of the trees, and they for the propolis, they collect, that from the resins from the trees, and their saliva, and they mix all this. There's really, how do they decipher? There could be 300 varieties of trees that, everywhere all around the bees hit, so you don't know exactly where that propolis is, the ingredients are coming from, but like I said, I'm not that involved and in depth with it because I'm not selling it, I just do it. And if it helps somebody, that's great. So that's it.
Thank you.
I did forget to mention this stuff and you can see it, what it looks like, and you're welcome to open the files, later and take a look and you can see how it's so yellow, it's beautiful for color, but it stains like none other.
So is most of the propolis totally dissolved after the 3 or 4 weeks? There's a little bit you have to filter
There's gonna
through?
be probably more, I would think, than a little bit. It'll
Okay.
still have maybe half
Is it-
sediment or a little bit less, and also, they say that you can actually, which I didn't do with my first batch that I did, because they say you can reuse the propolis and make a new batch.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, just put it in a tin bag, put it in the freezer, then dry it in the freezer, then you can get it out and start anew. But they say to cover it, so most people, when they do make it, I'm hearing that once they finish it, they will go ahead and put enough. And I don't know about that, how much.
You're gonna do it though now.
So I haven't
Right.
done that.
Yeah, not as strong as the first batch.
No, and it may be, it may not be, I don't know.
I'm gonna do the propolis with Leela and George just to see if there's anything different. But I just wanna say, does anybody get poison ivy?
Yeah.
Cause I do bad. Chris Sims gave me some propolis in a spray bottle, out of the kindness of his heart. And when I got poison ivy a couple weeks ago, it was bad, it blisters, it oozes. I sprayed it on, started using the propolis, within 2 days it was dried up. Now, I don't know, it was the alcohol.
We may put that on top of the tree as a protectant, because it actually, you have to feel it when you spray it on, it gets like kind of smooth.
Uh-huh.
So if you need to be able to do that and then wash it, you get the oil off of that, you got the oil, I don't know, that's just a thought.
I have gardening arm sleeves and I forgot to put them on that day.
I use 95%, which is a little stronger alcohol. I tincture lots and lots of things. I have a basement full of herbal tinctures, and I like to use 190 proof organic cane alcohol for that, which is sort of it's a lot harder to come by than Everclear. So that's what I use when I make my propolis tincture, because I
They sell that at the state store?
No, you have to. It's work to get it. So, but I do sort of a bigger buy, and then I have it for several years until I use it for various things, and so that's what I use. But Everclear works. If you want stronger Everclear than you can buy in the state store, go to Delaware. But you can use either. And then, yeah, so George and I actually made some a couple of months ago now.
Longer than 4 weeks.
Longer than 4 weeks, and I like to let mine sit 4 to 6 weeks. Again, this is really a matter of what you.
And it sit too long?
No.
I don't think so. Leela's gonna take them home today and strain them, but. And they come in different, well, this is our propolis mat. Well, this is a propolis mat. You can scrape it off the frames, but they also sell these green mats that basically you put on the top of the hive and the bees will fill this in with propolis. Anyone know the best, I didn't know this until this year. Anyone know when the best times of year to put propolis mats are on?
Winter.
Fall.
Before winter, yes. I would have thought fall, but it's not. It's July and August. Yeah, so if you're gonna put a propolis mat on, put it on July and August. So as soon as you take your honey supers off, condense down your hive, put your propolis mats on.
Where do you put the mat?
You can get them online from China.
Put the mat.
Right on top of frames. Put it right on the top of the hive. And then what you do is you take it goes right on top of the frames. And then you take your inner cover and invert it. And put a space in it, put a stick in it, so there's airflow going through, because they don't want the airflow. So if you prop your inner cover just a little bit and then put this, they'll fill this in really quick with propolis. So I also, scraping it off the frames makes a lot of sense, This may make less sense, but you basically just put this on and in 3 weeks, it's basically looks like this. You can pass it around, right? So this is a propolis mat and you put it on so that the channels kind of face down. So they just sort of fill the channels in. And then after 3 weeks, you take this mat, you throw it in a freezer, and basically just turn the mat and the propolis will generally crack.
It does start to get warm really
Right.
quickly, and then it doesn't crack right off. So I've gotten some of it and then I've had to put the mat back in the freezer. And then, you know, come back at it again later and do that.
So Mark said don't pass around, which I agree, so we'll leave it up there if anybody wants to check that out. This is a propolis mat, and July and August is when you wanna put this on. Cause I know, cause I put it on July, harvest in July, put it on August, harvest in August, I put it on September. And the amount of propolis coming into the hive just decreased dramatically. So whatever the trees are that are producing the resins are more July and August than September for propolis.
You also wanna consider, do you have mite treatments going on at the same time as you're trying to collect the propolis? Do you want those things at the same time? I don't. So so you have to think about the timing both of when they're gonna be making the most propolis, but also are there organic or synthetic chemicals in there that you don't want in a medicinal product? Yeah.
You're freezing the frames and taking them out to room temperature, would it be better to wait till winter time? And just do it when it's cold outside?
It's the propolis mat that you're freezing. So
I'm saying, but you take them out of the freezer, but do it outside where it's cold, so they don't come up in temperature, you don't get warm fast.
try that. I honestly don't know if warmth from your hands and just trying to manipulate the mat is what's heating it up, but it could work. I've never tried it that way. Yeah.
There's 3 colors of propolis I've learned, tan, brown, and red, and green. I don't know which one's more therapeutic. The red looks pretty good. The ones that they collected on this propolis mat were more on the tanner variety, you know, brownish variety than the reddish variety. I'm not sure.
That's mostly what I've seen is about that color.
About that color.
Some that is so dark that I'm like, is this, okay, let's, you know.
Yeah,
very
I
dark.
assume so. There's some more
Well, it
reddish
is.
color, yeah.
And you can see, I mean, maybe not from a distance, but we made these on the same day with some that George had collected and some that I had, and they're different colors. So, you know, there's a lot of subtle variation.
And I was surprised how much sediment's left at the bottom of the jar after the a month of infusion. I thought it would all be dissolved, but it's not. So there must be something in there that the bees are bringing back that's not dissolvable. You know, propolis is the plant immune system, right? I mean, that's their immune system to antibacterial, antiviral is the resins that they make. So it's gotta makes sense that it's gotta carry over the benefit. Yeah, all the stuff good for it.
And so I also do a weight to volume a little bit differently. I do a 1 to 5, and I do grams of the propolis and milliliters of the alcohol. So just a different, slightly different variation, exactly what you did.
Yeah.
And that's something that's sort of fun to experiment with. People have very strong opinions about the right way, but I don't really think there is any one right way. There are just different variations. You can decide what you prefer. So you can try it, you know, 1 to 5 one year, and then maybe the next year you say, I'm gonna try 1 to 4 or 1 to 7. You just see what you like. So that's part of the fun of it, I think, is get to experiment a little bit, exactly refine how you do it, get something that you're really happy with. But you're gonna get a good picture of what, so that's what's happening. You can't really mess it up. You can only refine it, you know, make it